in continuation of our previous session on this particular the individual pay structures, now I would like to mention the one more case study, that is about the enhancing the pay structure by strategic alignment at InnovateTech. InnovateTech, a cutting edge technology firm, faced the challenges in aligning their pay structure with business goals, supporting career progressions, addressing pay equity and improving the employee retention and engagement. To address these issues, the company leveraged HR analytics tools to gain insights and make the data-driven decisions. InnovateTech identified the several key factors influencing their pay structure, including the market competitiveness, internal equity and performance metrics. HR analytics revealed that their pay structure was primarily market driven but lacked alignment with the company's strategic goals, such as innovation and employee retention. By integrating strategic goals into their pay structure, InnovateTech aimed to better incentivize behavior that drive the business success. The company used HR analytics to assess how well their pay structure supported career progression and employee development. The analysis showed that while there were the clear salary bands, opportunities for the advancement were not well defined, and as this leading to the employee dissatisfaction. So, InnovateTech addressed this by creating clear career pathways and linking pay increases to skill development and performance milestones, and thereby encouraging the continuous learning and growth so that the employee dissatisfaction that can be minimized. So, InnovateTech conducted a pay equity analysis to identify the discrepancies within their current pay structure. The analysis revealed significant gender and racial pay gaps, particularly in technical roles. To address these issues, InnovateTech implemented a structured pay review process ensuring that all employees received equitable compensation based on role, experience and performance. They all were having the same pay structure. This move was crucial in fostering a more inclusive and fair workplace. HR analytics were used to evaluate the flexibility of InnovateTech's pay structure in accommodating new roles and changes in the job responsibilities. The findings indicated that the existing pay structure was rigid and struggled to adapt to the evolving nature of job roles in the tech industry. InnovateTech responded by introducing a more flexible pay structure, allowing for the adjustments based on the market trends, individual performance and changes in job scope. This flexibility ensured that the new and evolving roles were appropriately compensated. To understand the impact of their pay structure on employee retention and engagement, InnovateTech analyzed turnover rates and employee engagement scores. The data showed a correlation between the competitive pay and higher retention rates, but also highlighted the areas where pay dissatisfaction contribution was more and turning into the turnover. By aligning this pay structure with employee expectations and industry standards, InnovateTech improved the retention rates and boosted the engagement. They introduced the additional incentives such as performance bonuses and the stock options to further motivate and retain the top talent. Here the questions arises, what are the key factors influencing our pay structure and how do they align with our business strategy and goals? How does our pay structure support career progression and employee development? Are there any pay equity issues within our current structure and how can we address them? And finally, how flexible is our pay structure in accommodating new roles or changes in the job responsibilities? How does our pay structure employee retention and engagement? And on basis of this, we can bring more job satisfaction and less employees turnover. For the compensation, we have seen that is how HR analytics that has helped to identify the gaps and dissatisfaction and efficiency with the help of HR analytics. Those HR analytics parameters with which we have seen how we can improve the employee satisfaction and work efficiency. With the help of the organizational goals and the strategic goals, these particular aspects of the efficiency of the organization that has been enhanced. For enhancing the organizational efficiency with the help of the pay structures, the organization has made a very high effective HR analytics use. Now, on the basis of these individual pay, the next dimensions, I would like to share the case study, that is aligning individual pay with the performance and the inclusion at DataCorp. So, Data Corporation used the HR analytics to examine the correlation between individual performance metrics and compensation levels. Now, here I would like to mention about the equity. Whenever we are talking about the pay equity, and in the pay equity we go by, that is the how we go these the performance and the pay. So, when we are saying that is the pay which is low and high, the performance which is low and high. So, naturally equity will be like this. Here low pay, low performance, moderate pay, moderate performance, and the high pay, high performance is expected. And when we are talking about the pay adjustment, so pay adjustment for example, an employee who is having these high pay, right, and the low performance, here what we will say? We will say he is overpaid, because his performance is low, but he is high paid, so he will be overpaid. Similarly, pay is low and performance is high, it is the underpaid. So, dear friends, we have to understand, that is when we are talking about the pay adjustments, we have to follow the principle of the equity in the case of the particular payment of whatever we are having on the basis of these particular aspects, that is the we are talking about the pay and performance. Pay and performance adjustment, that should have the principle of natural justice. So, here the HR team which has analyzed the most common reasons for the pay adjustments, for example, the promotions or the market adjustments, performance based increases. When I have shared with you this formula of pay equity, low performance and low pay, that is actually the performance based formula. And the findings highlighted inconsistencies in this particular organization, wherein how pay adjustments were communicated. Many times in many organizations, this becomes a big challenge, that is the how to bring the equity. And when there is a inconsistencies in the pay adjustments, then naturally the employees are confused and dissatisfied, and not only dissatisfied, naturally it will affect the performance in the organization. Even then, if the organization does not pay attention, then the employees turnover will increase. So, to address this, Data Corporation implemented a transparent communication strategy, which clearly outlined the reasons for pay adjustments and ensuring employees understood the criteria and process. To face this particular challenge, I will advise to the industrialists, that is they should adopt the as maximum transparency as much as possible. There should be no hidden agenda. So, every employee he can calculate his pay himself on the basis of the critical points which will be given for that particular job. So, when these critical points will be given, then there will be clear cut outlining for the pay adjustment, and there will be no chaos, there will be no confusion, and employees will understand the criteria and process, and naturally this transparency will improve the trust and the clarity regarding the compensation decisions. Data Corporation assessed how individual compensation packages supported their diversity and inclusion initiatives. Even your organization might be very large enterprise, LEs, but if your HR manual is very clear and understanding, the compensation packages are supported with the particular critical points, then whatever the diversity may be there in the organization, and there will be the fair payment or the pay structure. The analysis revealed that the certain demographic groups, particularly women, minorities, were underrepresented at higher planning roles, and to promote equity, Data Corporation introduced the targeted initiatives such as mentorship programs, unbiased performance evaluation and equitable pay adjustments. Many organizations, they take the many initiatives, so that they like this the mentorship program, so that those who are the minor or women, or there are the certain other jobs where which has not got their due payment, then these pay adjustments will be helping them to give them the justice. These HR analytics will measure them to create a more inclusive environment where all employees had the equal opportunities for the advancement and the compensation and the achieving their goals, and also the individual pay and organizational pay, that will be the same. The company evaluated the impact of the different compensation components. For example, base pay, bonuses, stock options, and here many different compensation components nowadays increasing as a welfare perks on employee, so that is increasing the employee motivation and satisfaction. I would like to suggest here that is these particular different compensation components that should be flexible and adaptable. It means the employee will choose, it is called the bouquet system. The employee will choose that particular component and of compensation which is more suitable and needed by that particular employee, and then you see what is the motivation level of the employees there. But when you are having the fixed pay packages structure, the sum of the employees may not be fall into that particular packages, they will not be able to avail those packages, but organization will say we are providing those packages, but those packages are not availed by the employee. So, then there is no meaning of any support of those packages to the employee. So, HR analytics showed that while base pay provided the stability, bonuses and stock options significantly enhance motivation and the job satisfaction. So, always there should be an option strategy. So, DataCorp adjusted their compensation packages to increase the weight of the variable components, ensuring employees felt recognized and motivated by their contributions. And this approach led to higher overall job satisfaction and retention of the employees as there. It becomes very important that you provide that type of the choices in your compensation and pay structure which the employee is individual to individual employee who likes most. DataCorp explored the effects of the pay transparency on employee trust and organization culture. Now, you see, like when we say the goodwill of the organization, so what will be the cost or what will be the worth of that organization where the goodwill is very high? And when we say that is the goodwill of the organization is very high, and then what will be the pay structure or compensation for that particular goodwill? So, therefore, the analysis which is in introducing the more and more transparency and the trust among the organization, and organization culture is also supporting this type of the transparency, then it indicates the greater transparency in individual pay lead to a higher level of trust and more positive culture in the organization. When employees are not working just for only for money, but they are working with the purpose or the goal of the mission or their life. So, therefore, the employees who understood the rationale behind their compensation, which was more likely to feel valued and engaged. So, it is not the pay structure is not only the money to your job, but it is the recognition to your job. And as a result of which, when we talk about that is the trust and positive culture is built by those employees who understood the rationale behind their compensation and feel that is the yes, this is the compensation which is not only for the nature of task or operations which I am doing, but it is for the worth of that particular job is there. Employees who understood this thing, then definitely they will feel always more and more engaged and committed to the organization. To foster the transparency, DataCorp implemented regular pay adults, shared aggregate compensation data and communicated openly about the pay policies. So, there was nothing hidden, it was really transparent. This initiative enhanced the trust and reinforced a culture of fairness and accountability in the organization. The questions will be raised by these case study are: how do individual performance metrics correlate with the compensation levels? And are we rewarding the high performance appropriately? What are the most common reasons for the pay adjustments and how are these communicated to the employees? So, when you will have the transparency, when you have the principle of equity and when you will communicate to the employees, so they will understand what is the pay adjustment is. How do individual compensation packages support our diversity and inclusive initiatives are there. So, whenever we are talking about the adjustments of these particular compensation packages, then we talk about that is what are the different diversities are there and how these are making this inclusion of initiatives of different diversities are there. The another question which arises is the what is the impact of the different compensation components, for example, base pay, bonuses, stock options on employees motivation and the satisfaction. Now, you see there are the fixed pay and there are the variables pay, and when we say the base pay, then definitely that is the fixed pay, but when we say the bonuses and the stock options, it becomes the variable pay. So, it is also help us to understand that is the fixed pay's impact and the variable pay impact on the employees, on the employees motivation and the satisfaction. How does this individual's pay transparency affect employees trust and organizational culture? So, there in here we find that is that this particular pay transparency which has been brought to the employees, and employees understand that is the what type of these packages are given to them on the basis of the what job description, job role, job analytics, job assignments, then the organization culture will be made accordingly. Finally, I would like to come to the part in the compensation is the implementation, communication and monitoring. Here I would like to take the effective implementation and monitoring of the compensation strategy with the help of the case study of the BioMedTech. BioMedTech, a biomedical technology company, faced challenges in implementing, communicating and monitoring. Now, it is a beautiful part, that is when we are designing a compensation strategy, you can be very good articulate and architect into that compensation strategy, but when the question comes of the implementation and communicating and see that is these policies are implemented, it becomes a different strategy. To address these issues, the company leveraged HR analytics to improve transparency, employee satisfaction and overall organizational performance. So, BioMedTech evaluated the most effective channels for the communicating the compensation changes to the employees. The analysis revealed that employees preferred a combination of digital and in-person communication. The company adopted a multi-channel approach, including the email announcements, company intranet, updates and the town hall meetings, and all these ensure that all employees receive the timely and the clearly information about the compensation charges and enhancing the understanding and reducing the confusion. So, when you are communicating your compensation policies to the all these persons, those who are clearly and timely they are getting these innovations, then that will be enhancing and understanding their why they are getting this package and why not more, why not less. because this becomes a very typical questions in the compensation, why not more and why not less. So, to gauge the employee perception of transparency and fairness in compensation practices, BioMedTech conducted anonymous survey and focus groups. The feedback indicated that while most employees found the practice fair, there was room for improvement in the transparency, and therefore, in that case, BioMedTech responded by providing the detailed explanation of the compensation decisions and the criteria used for the pay adjustments. They also introduced the regular question and answer sessions with the HR to address the employee concern directly, and thereby improving the overall perception of the fairness. BioMedTech identified key metrics to monitor the effectiveness of the compensation strategy, including the employee satisfaction scores, turnover rates and performance metrics. HR analytics tools were used to track these metrics. So, therefore, those metrics which has been developed on the employee satisfaction and turnover rates and including their performance, and that is made to track these metrics as a find out what should be the compensation, what should be the logic or rationale behind giving a particular compensation and bringing the transparency in that particular job. For example, a noticeable improvement in employee satisfaction scores and a reduction in turnover rates indicated that recent changes in compensation strategy were effective, and these metrics helped BioMedTech make data driven adjustment to continuously refine their approach. The company analyzed how changes in the compensation policies impacted employee behavior and organizational performance. HR analytics showed that the increased performance based bonuses led to the higher productivity and better term collaborations. Additionally, enhanced benefits packages including the health and wellness programs resulted in improved employee well-being and the reduced absenteeism. These findings highlighted the positive impact of the well-designed compensation policies on overall organizational performance. BioMedTech established the robust feedback mechanisms to gather the employee input on compensation. Regular pulse surveys, suggestions boxes and one-on-one meetings with the managers provided multiple avenues for employees to voice their opinions. The HR team analyzed this feedback to identify the trends and areas for the improvement. For example, feedback on the need for the more personalized benefits led to the introduction of the flexible benefit options, catering to the diverse employee needs. The continuous feedback loop ensured that the compensation practices evolved in line with the employee expectations and the organizational goals. The questions arises: what are the most effective channels for communicating compensation changes to employees? Now, here you see, bringing the transparency into the policies for the pay structure is the one aspect, while communicating the compensation changes to the employees is the another aspect. What we learned with the help of this particular case study, there is a need for not only designing a policy, but also there is a need to bring the transparency which is to be communicated to the employees very fairly. How do employees perceive the transparency and fairness of our compensation practices, and how can we improve this perception? And from the above case study, we understand that is how the perception of these compensation that can be changed. What are the key metrics for monitoring the effectiveness of our compensation strategy? So, naturally these policies which are to be monitored and find out whether our these pay structure policies are effective or not, we have to keep on making this continuous evaluation for the monitoring the effectiveness. The another dimension arises is the how do changes compensation policies impact employees' behavior and organizational performance. Now, when an employee feels that is there is enough justice for his education, qualification and candidature, naturally it will make an impact on employee's behavior. And when the employee will be more committed and engaged, that will increase the organizational performance. What feedback mechanisms are in place to gather employees' input on compensation, and how is this feedback used to make the improvement? So, improvement is a continuous process, but for that HR analytics provide the feedback, it provides the input, and this feedback mechanism, when employees are getting the on this particular compensation policies of the organization, then naturally that will make the improvement in their proposed compensation policy. And whenever there will be the improvement in the compensation policy, that will lead, that is the how they can make these particular aspects of making the changes, transparency, bringing implementation and calculations for their compensation for the enhancement of their efficiency and the performance. So, this is all about that is the how individual pay structure, job analysis and valuing of the job, that will make a difference into the employees' satisfaction and employees' commitment towards the job. Thank you.